So, Darktide update, huh? How do we even begin? I was so fed up about Darktide update. I'm making a video now, as you can probably tell. I'm quite upset about it. I mean, on the surface, I think as quality of life changes, it's pretty cool. And new weapons, that's pretty cool. But it also brings us, like 7 different layers of power creep and the removal of basically everything interesting and I like about the game, which is like the 3 classes that's being reworked. So how do we even begin? This all started with the introduction of Havoc, because you see, they somehow decided to tie actual rewards to Havoc instead of it being a purely optional game mode when it shouldn't even be a game mode to begin with. It's more suited as like a mod or something. Like if you've heard of mod DRG on like Onslaught Deathwish and Rantide. Havoc was kind of one of those things, and they introduced Havoc, and then I think more and more people started playing Havoc. As a result, we just started balancing around Havoc, which is pretty frankly disgusting and horrible. I mean, like, specifically, I don't think the Psyker changes specifically revolves around that. The one, was it this year or last year, where they made Sprout's case vent 50% barrel. I think it's last year. So, I think most importantly, most notably, Havoc 2.0 and the rework of Ogren to make Ogren from a class that's already strong into... Ogren was already strong. Okay, let me just be clear. Ogren was already strong. Nobody just knew how to play him. Remember that Ogren Rumbler did not get changed a single time. Many of the other weapons also did not get changed. Yeah. Like, it's just like Ogren just takes more skill than other classes because people will think it's a movement shooter and this big guy, oh no, I cannot move. Time to buff this guy to shit and to brain dead, and now guess what? You can just, on Ogren, instead of actually using core Tide game principles like blocking and dodging and pushing enemies, what you can do instead on Ogren is you can click M1 more, and when you're taking a lot of damage from a lot of people, and you will actually heal through it, because Ogren's toughness region is now near like its brainless levels of toughness region coupled with insane damage and stagger from all your abilities, and that just, I don't know, that just doesn't scream like balance to me. Like I have a friend I play with her. She's like a diehard Ogren player, and even she agrees with me at this point. It's really not big of a deal. I mean, it's not worth it. It's just really egregious in terms of the Ogren rework. And the release of Havoc 2.0 adding in more modifiers that exacerbate the original Havoc problem, which is the Havoc 2.0 is clearly and most definitely a Havoc difficulty that is balanced around the meta, or what meta was. Which is, so you can see they added in Havoc 2.0, they added interesting modifiers such as enemies that infinitely heal other enemies, and enemies that ignore all crowd control, no matter what. Like, and also a ritual, which is arguably the most interesting of the 4 modifiers they added. But however, they managed to fuck it up because rituals trigger on Darktide maps have non-linear map progression. So like, sometimes the rituals just randomly trigger and then you die because the game hates you, which is very fun. Rampaging enemies also, while not seem like a very noticeable, like very significant modifier, reduces hit mass, which neuters a bunch of the options in your arsenal, namely Void Strike Staff and a lot of the other melee options. A lot of it just makes the strongest melee options even stronger and even more necessary, and make the weaker options seem like you're actually not doing it. Seems like it just makes it so like you're forced to taking the stronger melee options, which it fucking sucks. And now, post Havoc 2.0, we have Arbitrator, and I think everyone already know what's going on there with the Arbitrator. Officially, it's the strongest class now. I mean, I don't know now, but like, it's the strongest class in the game. It has Psyker, especially after they fixed Execution Order. It has Psyker levels of damage output. We're ignoring the outlier of Inferno Staff and Shriek's damage output, but like ignoring that, it has Psyker levels of damage output with Ogren levels of personal safety, as well as on top of all that you have a minion that can kill enemies for you and save you from specials, and that's pretty much it. Covers every single weakness. It has boss damage, it has single target, it has crowd control, it has personal safety, it has stagger, it has AoE stagger, it has a shield weapon that on special attack staggers every single enemy in front of you in a 20-meter radius. Like, wow, it's so balanced, right? And I think the worst part is that not a lot of people even realize that this class is actually like an issue in the game. Like the Arbitrator is not an okay class. Like before, like when you play Havoc, when you go on a party finder, the most common class we say is Arbitrator, because Arbitrator makes it so anybody with like just a reasonable amount of skill and time can get to Havoc 40. And I don't think that's what they designed Havoc 40 for. At least in my opinion, it shouldn't be something you can just like reach easily. I mean, like difficulty in the game is supposed to be meaningful and a challenge that's supposed to be resolved with additional aspects outside of just the class and the build you're running, like teamwork, like coordination, like the mastery of the combat and the movement system. And Arbitrator kind of throws all that out in the window, and so does Ogren too, specifically Explodegrin. Because let's be real, the hardest part of playing Explodegrin is looking for ammo around the map and not actually playing the class itself. Well, and now we have Pleasant Day. Looking at the balance change, I'm not a playtester. I'm not a YouTuber. I'm just someone who likes playing Havocs a lot and Darktide a lot. And I just hate to see like my favorite game at this moment getting ruined like this. And it kind of sucks, because you know what they did? Well, let's start with Vet, which is probably my least placed class out of the three. So the Vet rework. The reworks are mostly focused on Zealot, but Vet has some options too. Like the first thing that I noticed, like obviously, it's just that Vet's tree looks like Arbitrator's tree, and you know, I think that's a bad thing. I think what Arbitrator has egregiously done, and there's reason that there's so many Havoc 40 Arbitrator solos, is because Arbitrator is a broken fucking class. Like True Grit is broken. The fact that you have like 7 plus 15% damage nodes just on the bottom of your tree is not okay. Execution Order is not okay. Cascaders is not okay, and neither is Charge, to be honest. The only truly okay ability, Nuncio, is still extremely strong, that I wouldn't even call it okay. Like not a single part of Arbitrator that is not overpowered. And you know what they did to Arbitrator and Ogren? Yeah, they reduced Dog Bomb's charge by 1, made it so it gives you 1 charge every 50 instead of 60 seconds to compensate, nerfed Execution Order's damage by 5%, and reduced Arbitrator's base toughness. Like, it addresses none of the issue that's actually making the class so fucking egregious. That is like how effective Dog is as a passive companion, how egregious the toughness regeneration and your DR is, stacking DR is in safety, castigators, and basically I don't even know what to say. That makes me fucking angry even thinking about it. Because it's even true for Ogren. The only meaningful nerf they had on Ogren is they nerfed Batter to apply 1 stack of bleed on light attacks instead of 2 stacks. Which, yes, that's reasonable, and it brings down like the strongest class set. There is one of the strongest builds, which is Taunt Ogren with a Bully Club. But it does nothing. It did nothing to Rumbler. It didn't even change anything. Not talents, not the weapon. You can just play that build, and the only meaningful nerf is that the damage taunt now deals 5% less damage. Like, woohoo! I love doing 5% less damage in a video game. That's so on a class that's already pretty much unkillable in melee combat. Yeah. And now they're making the last 2 perhaps balanced classes, Vet and Zealot, horrible. So I don't even know what to say here. Well, Close Order Drill on Vet is now a must pick, and that means you just get free extra DR, and the top of the tree and the center of the tree, they moved every single good generalist talent into the top and into the center of the tree, where every single build would traverse. Talents such as Iron Will, Superiority Complex, the Bleed and Attack Speed talents. So now it's just like, the thing about Vet, the core issue about Vet is not that Vet has bad talents, it's that Vet has talents that are hard to traverse to, and you're spending too many points passing through stuff you don't need. But instead of, like, they're buffing the talents, well, to a lesser extent on Vet, but you'll see later. But like, still, true. They're not only rearranging the tree, but they're also buffing the talents. And rearranging the tree is enough of like a power scaling for Vet, in my opinion, because it's like I said, Vet has really powerful talents. It's just you don't have enough points to pass through them. Balancing Vet should be taken really carefully, because if you do it wrong, Vet will be pretty egregious. Because like, if you just put all the good talents in one like cluster, then you can just take off them and play Darktide. I don't know. You can just take off them and play Darktide, like how grenade talents, every single grenade talent is now a path that you must traverse in order to build a Vet tree. So like, you just get grenades for free, like in every single build. Like, it's not in the past. Like, in the past, obviously, it was to the extreme where if you want to pass through grenades, oh, you have to sacrifice points and you do stuff, and it's like a little annoying. But like, now it's like, oh yeah, you just get grenades with every single one of your builds, cool, and you can get every single grenade you want, you can get every single aura, pretty much every single one of your abilities. Like, I understand freedom of choice is good and build variety is good, but some of that thought process into build making is also good. Like, you want a player to be able to make decisions and say like, oh, okay, so I want to play a melee focus build. That means I have to path to melee bleed. That means I have to sacrifice points and maybe not take a viable grenade, damaging grenade on this build. Right, and I think that's good decision making. And you don't have to path through every single strongest talent on every single build, because then you're not playing Darktide anymore. You're playing whatever fucking slop that we're gonna have in tomorrow, in less than 12 hours. I'm assuming Marksman's focus makes it so each stack decays individually, because otherwise then it's more of a nerf than a buff, because the movement penalty really isn't. The movement penalty really doesn't matter that much, to be honest. The only good part of the Vet balance, well, not the only, but they nerfed tactical and awareness, the ultimate cooldown reduction from 6 seconds flat to 3 seconds over 3 seconds, and they, yeah, that's pretty much the only nerf that Vet's talents have. They made Skirmisher buff. They buffed Skirmisher to make it super easy to access and activate, and so does Onslaught. You no longer have to pass through the right side of the tree to go through Duck and Dive to get Onslaught, and now you can just get it directly on the right side of the tree, on the just above the keystone. My call is that Vet's gonna be really stupid in terms of output, and you're gonna have have a like higher level of safety than before. Sure, your ult uptime is gonna probably be a little less, but in general, you're gonna have so much more toughness DR, and you're just gonna have so many more tools at your disposal, which is good, but it's also like, what are we really balancing around? Are we balancing around Damnation, or are we really balancing around Havoc 40? Because it really looks like we're balancing around Havoc 40, and I don't think that that's what they should be balancing around, because Havoc's, like I said, Havoc's supposed to be a challenging game mode that you're supposed to succeed with more than just your own build and your skill most of the time. Like, you're not supposed to be able to just, like, play a build. I don't think a Havoc 40 can be beaten if you're just playing a build, and then you have 200, 300 players that are also playing a build. Like, I think it should require more of that on you and your entire team's part, like some extra team coordination and, like, I don't know, mastery of movement, anything. It's just like, what next? They're gonna make Havoc 50. Like, thank fuck, Fat Shark. Okay, well, let's talk about Zealot. So, enemies within with enemies without is basically reverted, and it now gives you 7.5% toughness per second as long as you're within 5 enemies. Hooray! I don't know if anybody has learned from giving classes sources of regeneration, sources of toughness regeneration outside of like killing melee enemies, but looking at Arbitrator and Ogrin, which are two classes that have unkillable levels of melee power, it should be pretty obvious that doing that is a bad idea. Why are they giving classes more ways to regain toughness outside of just being in direct killing people with melee? Like, it's the part of Zealot's class, I guess, gameplay is that toughness management, because you have really high DR, but you have minimum ways of recovering your toughness, which means tracking your, like, how many charges you have, and, like, your movement, and, like, how much you're tanking at one time. Like, extremely important, and I just feel like this will simplify a lot of that complexity down and remove that extra dimension from the class. Also, don't mind the gameplay, I was super out of it. Death resist is now mandatory, because that's how it works, because if you compare Darktide classes to the Vermintide parallels, each class is supposed to be 3 of the subclasses, like for example on Saltspire, only the Zealot class on Saltspire has death resist, or the equivalent, and the other classes, Witch Hunter, Captain, Bounty Hunter, and the DLC, Warrior Priest, does not in fact have death resist, and now they're making it so death resist is takeable on every single build. Death resist should only be a thing at Martyrdom, because Martyrdom's the one that actually requires you to play at a low error margin, so that should be your safety net, and not that, oh, you could just have that on every single part of your build, and you know, guess what, it's mandatory, you can't even not use it. Like, you can't even intentionally nerf yourself to, like, not. Yeah. They added a couple, specifically this one talent, I forgot the name, but it's in the middle of the tree, and it's an Arbitrator style talent that gives you extra cleave and damage based on how many enemies are near you. Like, I don't know if they learned, but having talents that require you to no throttle input and gives you near 100% uptime as long as you're in combat is not a good way to make talents. Like, this is not, like, if it's not a significant thing, then, but I'm pretty sure 20% damage and 50% extra cleave is pretty significant. I don't know what to tell you, but 20% damage is a lot, and it's very noticeable in the melee game. Yeah, and look what Arbitrator is as a class. I don't want Zealot to become like that either. Loner is reworked to Zealous, that's pretty good. 15% less stam cost is very powerful, and you know what, that's okay. That's actually pretty good for a change. There's some insane BCR options, block cost reduction and stamina recovery options above the Lev aura, as well as the previously 10% attack speed on the bottom of the tree is moved there. I don't even know what to say. I think stamina is already like an insane stat, and getting more is, I don't know, I might tip the class over from being reasonable to just having an unreasonable, like, overwhelming amount of power, and I don't think I'd want that. I like challenging my video games. Also, unrelated balancing, but I fucking hate the Zealot layout. Why is revive speed centered? Why is good balance on the right side of revive speed and attack speed on the left? And why is elite damage below the revive speed that you have to pass through revive speed to get? What is this layout? I don't get it. Like, this is... Why are you mandating revive speed? Anyways. So the CDR talents besides Invocation of Death is all buffed. I don't think CDR talents belong in the Tide game. That's not my opinion, but it's true. Part of the CDR is moved to ability mods, so you just, like, it's the talent itself is moved, but the abilities give you back the cooldown. I did the math, and you still get, if you're constantly critting things, you still get around 7 seconds of, like, CDR, which is that's just still 7 seconds of, like, I mean your charge. So that Fury up to phase should have a 7-second cooldown if you're just hitting stuff and running plus 12% combat ability, like, cooldown. And that's pretty much as before, so I don't think that problem ever got fixed. Additionally, we have the other CDL talents, specifically Martyr's Purpose reworked. It's based on missing health, and I just want to put this out there, but this is terrible. This is dog shit. This is like, fuck you, Fat Shark. Like, genuinely, like, passive ability regeneration bonuses do not belong in the Tide game. You know what happens the last time I see passive abilities that regenerate in the Tide game? It encourages turtling. That's right. Darktide is a movement shooter and not a turtle shooter. I don't want people to fucking sit behind a wall just to wait for their ability to recharge because, oh, you know, like, it recharges when they're not in combat. Like, God, I hate that. And also, Fire's Cut Throw is reworked so that it procs on weak spot hits. So, I guess it's just good now. Cool. What else? They buffed stealth. Why? I don't even know what to say here. They buffed stealth. They buffed martyrdom, they buffed momentum, and they buffed piety. There's no need for any of this. Every single ability, okay, well, I can't speak for momentum, but specifically martyrdom and piety are extremely viable keystones on Havoc 40. If someone's telling you that martyrdom has wasn't viable pre-Zealot rework on Havoc 40, then they're just bad at the game, I'm afraid. It's a low margin of error build, but it has really high output for a melee class. So as long as you're playing with the team, it's definitely a viable build. But guess what? None of that matters now. Martyrdom is going to be extremely powerful because not only do you get that, there's another 10%. Guess what? There's another 10% attack speed node. That's right, another 10% over. So in total, 20% free attack speed nodes on a Zealot tree in the center of the fucking tree. That's right. And I don't know what to tell you, but attack speed is one of the strongest, if not the strongest stat in Tide games, because attack speed affects every single one of your buffs and also gives you stagger. It builds up stagger on enemies. Having extra attack speed should be should be added as a very last resort option, because attack speed affects I don't know if I said it, I'm gonna say it again, but attack speed affects stagger, it affects talent procs, it affects everything in the video games. It's one of the strongest. It's so strong, you should be very careful about it, but they gave Zealot 20% free attack speed basically. How wonderful. On top of all that, if I haven't mentioned already, they buffed all the keystones. That's right, they buffed piety, they buffed martyrdom. The martyrdom change is actually pretty good, except that they made it so martyrdom has the exact same output. I would rather if they just made it so it only requires 5 cures to get max stacks of martyrdom, but made it so like it has a little less output, like equivalent to what we had before. But instead, martyrdom has, guess what? The same amount of output as before, so it's just a straight giant fucking buff to martyrdom, which I'm really happy about it. It's martyrdom's weak. It's not martyrdom. Is it? Oh my god, I'm so angry. I'm stuttering. Martyrdom's issues is not because it's too weak or because it requires less damage. It's because its margin of error is very low because you have to play at low health and you have to fully invest onto martyrdom, aka using all your curio slots for martyrdom builds. That's the problem. It's not that martyrdom's not doing too little damage, and that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. They're adding more damage onto martyrdom, basically. Buffing momentum, which I guess is okay. I mean, it's okay, I guess. But they really buffed piety for some reason. They made stalwart takeable from both sides of the tree and made the tree a circle. So, Zealot's gonna be more tanky, and now you're gonna have extra toughness regeneration options, and aside from just killing enemies. So, welcome back, Arbitrator 2.0. God, okay. Well, I have a little bit of time, and I'm gonna talk about my favorite class in the game, the Psyker. Okay, where can I begin? So let me pull up the chart. They buffed Psyker. I just want to say this, like, they fucking buffed Psyker. Why did they buff Psyker? Psyker is the highest output class in the game already. Like, the only class that competes with this output is Explode Grin and Arbitrator. And that's because Arbitrator and Ogrin are terribly balanced. The Psyker is supposed to be the class with the highest output in the game because its class identity is a magic user, a squishy magic user that's supposed to output high but also dies very fast with careless play. Right? But oh no, apparently not. Apparently Psyker isn't powerful enough. We're gonna buff Psyker even more. That's right, we're buffing Psyker even more. Quietude is actually now warp expenditure and Quietude combined because they hate me. And you know what else? I mean, okay, I guess the tree rework is okay, but like the thing about Psyker, like it's different from the problems with Zealot and Vet. Like Vet has good talents, but just a bad tree, so you can't pass through all of them. Zealot has polarizing talents, so taking all the good talents requires you to pass around the tree and skip everything else. But Psyker has good talents, and the thing is, Psyker has not just has good talents, it has busted fucking broken ass talents. It needs. Why did that just blow up here? It has fucking broken ass talents, and the broken ass talents are what, like, the tree keeps the broken ass talents in check, so you can only pick some of the broken ass talents at once. You can't pick all of them. You have to make active decisions about if you're playing a build, you should go down this path or that path and path these things accordingly. Like, there's actual thought involved. I don't care. I hate how every single big YouTuber right now on the market, none of them actually play Psyker and Havocs. Like, besides, no, I'm not counting playing Inferno Bubble Psyker as playing Psyker. That does not count as playing Psyker, I'm sorry, in Havocs. Check back to me after you play some Gun Psyker, play some Bubble Knight, and then play some EK. We'll talk after. That's okay. I'll pet you on the head and stuff. The point is, nobody knows what they're talking about, apparently. Like, last time I remembered, like, this is not a personal attack. You know what? This is a personal attack now. For some reason, Mr. E decides to make a video about, oh, Psyker's too weak outside of Bubble. No, Psyker the fuck is not. Venting Shriek is literally one of the strongest abilities in the game, and so is Scryer's Gaze. Even pre-buff, even pre- minus 50 per barrel generation on activation buff, Scryer's Gaze was already fucking busted. Gun Psyker is extremely oppressive in Oryx, and it's only limited by ammo pickup reductions. And Scryer's Gaze paired with Staff Psyker is some of the most broken and heinous busted direct damage shit that you've ever seen. And I don't care. The only reason that people think it's bad is because it's a hard build to play, because it requires like a lot of investment and time to get good at like using it, and also like you know, like for hitting weak spots and stuff. So people don't think it's actually good because it doesn't provide you with the same amount of safety. But now guess what? Now you know what? Scryer's Gaze now gives you toughness back, and now it gives you 20% toughness damage reduction by default. Right, and it also gives you 10% weak spot damage for free, because they want that. And also, DDs, the thing that's supposed to go with Scryers, yeah, they made it so it marks the same frequency as Arbitrator's Executional Order, which is arguably one of the strongest keystones in the game. What do you even begin here? Like, there's so much. Why did they buff Psyker? Psyker is a already strong and already broken class. Psyker is, there's two classes that are balanced, and it's Vet and Zealot, and then Psyker is stepping onto the broken part, because Psychonetic Aura exists, Venting Shriek exists, just how Soul Blaze work as a mechanic exists, and Scryer's Gaze exists, and like Staff Psyker, infinite cleave weapons, there's so much to talk about, and somehow they think Psyker isn't strong enough. I fucking hate this goddamn fucking fat shark. Why did they give Psyker just a 20% flat damage against monsters and Ogrins? Is that a fun talent? I don't think that's engaging. I don't think that's engaging at all. It's just extra damage. That's not what no, I don't want flat stat buffs on my talent tree. That's not what I'm here for, even if it's good. Like, I don't give a fuck. I want, like, engaging gameplay and thoughtful talents. Like Channeled Force is actually, like, a good rework. But unfortunately, it's being overshadowed by the fucking fact that they just, like, made it so Psychonetic Aura is even better when you're spacing out your kills. Because before, Psychonetic Aura gives you 4% of your ability cooldown back, but now it gives you a whole 3 seconds of your abilities. But in comparison, like, it does not stack. So like, if you space out your kills, it actually gives you better cooldown generation, which is, it's still fucked. And thank God it doesn't work with your teammates anymore, at least. Oh God, it's just like, what now? Like, what now, Faster? Like, they really decided to, instead of tuning down the top 2 performing classes, what they're doing here is they're just bringing every single class trying to up to par. They're balancing around Havocs. They're making sure so everybody with at least a hand and another hand that's able to hold a keyboard and maybe a mouse, optional, is able to play Auric Maelstroms, because yay, accessibility, right? Difficulty, successful accessibility. It's okay if not everyone wants to play the highest difficulty or be able to play. That's why they exist. That's why they exist. No, you should not, like, in fact, buff stuff like fucking perfect timing to make them work on on any damage. Like, perfect timing, they're not only are they buffing Psyker in general, they're specifically hard buffing Gunpsyker, which is, I don't understand. Gunpsyker is strong. Gunpsyker's not weak. I don't think Gunpsyker's weak at all. Gunpsyker's very strong. I don't know why they're buffing Gunpsyker more. They're buffing Psyker again and again, and this is like the 3rd time they've buffed Psyker, despite Psyker already being the highest output and highest ceiling in the game. I don't even know what to say here. Like, at this point, I've put not as much time into this game as a lot of other people I've played with, but it just feels like a slap in the face when you have classes that are egregious and overpowered, but they just decided to induce group psychosis and somehow make it so that, oh, you know what, every class should be like that, you know, every class, right, because that's good balance. That's good balance. I like it when Psyker's tree, now you're able to take every single talent that you want and every single S+ tier talent in one singular build. Psyker's talent tree is what keeps Psyker's builds thoughtful and interesting. But now we don't have that. Not anymore. And yeah, that's it. End of the story. Thanks for listening.